And the topic we're going to go through today is a topic called the land between. And some of you, as I begin to describe this space, will recognize it immediately because you are right in the middle of it. And here you are thrown into this transition. It's not something you look for. It's not something you ask for, but there you are. All of us have been there, or we are there today, or we're going to be there. None of us are immune from this troubled space. And I personally am not a stranger to this space. I've been there several times. Probably the most profound time in my life was when I awakened one November morning in the 7th grade to learn that my mom had been killed the night before in an automobile accident. My father was a pastor. There were 5 children. My sister was 13. I was 12. My little brothers were 9, 4, and 2 months old. And the 2-month-old baby James lived through the accident that killed my mom. When I try to describe those days in our family, it's like the heart had been removed from our home. The words dizzying, disorienting, don't even begin to talk about what that season was like for us. And I was thrown, our whole family was thrown into this area called the land between. And today, the question that we really want to ask today is just the question, what might God be pleased to do during such awful seasons? When we find ourselves finding that our lives have been changed in a sentence. I don't love you anymore, and I don't know that if I ever did. Your position's been eliminated. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings, and you hear those words, there's been an accident. Some of you remember where you were seated or standing when you heard your father say, your mother and I are getting a divorce. The engagement's off. It's cancer. And all of a sudden, you're thrown into the valley of the grieving, the land of the confused, the land of the disoriented. And our question is, what might God be pleased to do in our lives during such seasons? So, if you ever find yourself in the land between, I want you to know you can actually locate yourself on a map. Okay, you are here, all right? Egypt is where the Israelites were enslaved for generations under the pharaohs. Now go to the other side, go up around the right-hand corner, the land of Canaan. This was the promised land. In this desert for 2 years, and do you know what they ate during that time in the desert? God provided this weird food substance. It was kind of like flakes that would appear on the ground in the morning. Any of you know what the name of that stuff was? Manna. Do you know what the word manna means? Manna means, what is it? But the problem wasn't the taste. The problem was the frequency. Their Lord provided this food substance, and they were able to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And for the next day, they were able to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the day after that, they ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Are you sick of this yet? Not as sick as they were after 2 years. And so listen, as we open up the scriptures today, we are going to read about the manna riots of the Sinai desert. They are sick of this stuff, and they are about to vent. Now, as I read these verses from Numbers 11, verse 4, to do them justice, I really have to read them in a whiny voice, so bear with me. Numbers 11, verse 4, the rabble with them began to crave other food, and the Israelites began wailing, and they said, if only we had meat to eat. Oh, we remember the fish we ate in Egypt at no cost. Also the cucumbers. Do you remember the cucumbers? I remember the cucumbers. The melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. Now we've lost our appetite. We never see anything but this. What is it? And they are sick of this stuff. Now, you might think that in the desert, not much would grow. My friends, the land between is fertile ground. It's fertile ground for complaint. The voice of complaint yells, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of this. Now, before you look down on them too much for what they did, because there's this ability to read that story and go, these people are idiots. I would never do anything like that. Did you ever have a season in your life when you ate the same food over and over and over and over again? I guess what I'm saying is when we get to these passages in Scripture, these stories where people are behaving very badly, rather than standing above them and looking down on them, embed yourself with the characters. But what they're doing is very dangerous because they're not simply complaining about the cafeteria food. At the end of the story, Moses will say, you've rejected God. Because when they started wailing about being sick of this food, what they were actually saying was, we were better off in Egypt. We were better off as slaves. We were better off without you. Make no mistake about it, when you travel through the land between, your heart is in danger. And the voice of complaint is the voice that bellows, I'm sick of this, man, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of living in my in-laws' basement. I'm sick of going to bed at night and not knowing where my 17-year-old is. I'm sick of going to a nursing home and visiting my mother and having her constantly ask who I am. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of filling out job applications and getting to the second interview and the faucet being closed and then that not panning out. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. When you travel through the land between, the heart is in danger.